All right, welcome everybody to the Oceanside Library's Poetry Near and Afar. I thought I had screwed up and thought I had somehow brought ourselves two California poets, but Tanya is in Manhattan, so I did it right. So we welcome Tanya and Diane. Thank you very much for joining us, and welcome to everybody here tonight. And so, without any further ado, Tanya, go home.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much to be here. So I came from Korea, and the theme is like near or far. So what I will do, I'm gonna read first poem, short poem in Korean. So maybe I don't know what you feel, but I'm gonna start with the Korean poem. 해답. 대답을 알았어. 엘리엇. 한나와 그녀의 자녀들 중에서. 나는 천천히 피는 겨울 장미. 나는 무엇이 나를 피고 지게 하는지 압니다. 이제 나는 아무에게 도달하지 않아도 됩니다. Answer. I have my answer. Eliot in Woody Allen's Hannah and Her Sisters. I am a winter rose that slowly blooms. I know what opens and what closes me. I don't have to rise for anyone. And another poem is that we're talking about the far. So I think I'm gonna read the second poem, how after I become an American. So it goes like this. Naturalization. You ask me, when do you go back home? I have no home, no country. You ask me, are you a refuge? I am not a refuge, but I have no home, no country. You ask me, are you an alien? I'm not an alien, but I have no home, no country. If you ask me, why do you have no home, no country? I will smile and say, I too am a citizen of this country. This is my new home. You keep forgetting I am a new member of this country. My membership is hung on my wall, too big to put around my neck. You quit asking me when I am going back home. I am not stranger among you anymore. So this poem is like I wrote like a long time ago, and another poem similar to feeling that I wrote like last year. It's called Diaspora. When you hear that word, how do you feel? She asked me in the Zoom on the other side of the world. I am staring at war. I hear the sound of a departing airplane. Well, how should I answer? I feel I do not belong anywhere, like a night fog, like a nomad belonging nowhere. Sure, perhaps I can leave today. No one is holding my back. I can go where I can belong, but where is there? There are few faces appealing in the Zoom. I feel electric shocks going through my body. I am silent for a moment. I am not seen, have no voice, powerless. I slowly answer. I slowly disappear. Well, how should I explain? Wind, like going through a gust, standing with my eyes open like a blaze understanding. I want to transplant my roots. Finally standing on the foot on the soil, push back a bulldozer, blown away in the wind. I want to belong in a circle, but I feel like I'm always standing outside. I keep speaking out, but you say you do not understand. Sometimes I feel maybe I belonging where I come from, but can't go. You left your homeland, but that was my choice. If you could turn back time, would you stay then? No, I would have left even earlier. No one's decision but mine. I put one leg in one land and another one in another land. Divide the heart like I have to eat dinner twice, but still hungry. And this is like a poem, is like using different kind of form, and then so it's called Gazella of a Moonshine. I want to dance like her on the crowded floor. I want to move around the music, guiltless as a child. I want the internal blood circulating like a halo. I want to dance like a rising sun in death's valley. I do not want to live like a shadow. I refuse to numb my dragon heart. I do not want to please like a lotus on a pond. I refuse to remain a fingerprint on your thigh while your pomegranate cheeks still burn and you might never get home. I want to keep dancing, dance through the war. Generation of dark matter, the flame of my feet will burn through. I will dance like a raven on sand dune. And this poem is the Bleeding Heart Flower, is that I wrote it after the shooting, the spot shooting in March 16, 2021. I think some of you, it was like during pandemic, and then Atlanta, there was the spot shooting there, and then we lost 8 people. So I have feeling about this Hyun Jung Kim, the mother, single mom, who were taking care of her 2 sons. And usually why I was like using like a different part was that kimbap is like a Korean dish when you go to picnic, and then you take it, and then there is the one interview that I read it, like her son said, like, we wanted to go to picnic in spring, with the mom. And so I thought that would be important to share that one. Kimbap is like a traditional Korean dish of cooked rice wrap, seaweed, and then carrot, egg, pickle, radish, and the even beef, or you name it. And then if this poem, the Oma is the mom. So the Bleeding Heart Flower that I found it, and then it's in Korean, it's called Gumdanghwa. Excuse me. So Bleeding Heart Flower for Eric and Randy. That's her son's name. Smell of incense under the spring sun, buds blossom. I can't even open the kimbap lunchbox. Headed to country where no addresses can be found, leaving my children behind. Life is a dust of a mystery. Everything stops. But love roots in the rock. When you drive in Artist Road in Death Valley to find me or answer, please stop the car. Push back your seat. Make yourself comfortable like a caterpillar in the dark room. Listen to the dialogue with the silence. Remember, I was enough. Remember, I always choose love. I tried my best to live happily. Remember, you are the gifts I leave to the universe. Such a blessing. One last bedtime story I'll read to you. Now the hero defeats the villain. The world is the price of peace and love. Oma will become a superhero and come back for you. And this next poem, it's a spring. It's a beautiful, the flowers everywhere. And this poem is actually inspired with when I was giving the workshop with the Fairfax High School students during pandemic. So we had the collective the words, and then we did the workshop, and they give the words, and then my job was collecting their words and then making poems. And that was really, really interesting and fun workshop. So actually with this poem, I got a award in Albania. So that is really, really good, isn't it? So this is how it goes. Do you still believe in spring? A lonely bird knocks on the kitchen window. Is there still a word? Desert school playground, buttercup lip gloss, unopened, cold French fries, uncertain future, hope like rotten lemon juice, on ambulance silence sings, red and white glitter against the sidewalks. Tonight, someone dies alone. A patch of lotus, flowers exude fragrance. Sunrise yellow, tea green, salmon pink. Through something it dead, it sees can Gemini for thousands of years. Later, the lotus blooms, magnificent in the desert mud. I pray this poem finds you in your darkness. Hands reaching through the ghost light. In the remaining space of this postcard, I write, I still believe in love. And next poem is fun. So I say Rendezvous Notes, 21st century city of Los Angeles, but I wrote after Hwang Jin-hee. So who's Hwang Jin-hee? Hwang Jin-hee is the Korean Giseng, is the sort of the property by the government actually. So then they need to know how to sing, how to dance, how to write a poem, and pleasure to men. But she was very determined, the Giseng. So she was born in 1500 to 1560, and her name is known as Myungwor, bright moon. And so I just saw it'll be interesting share with after her name, and then write this 21st century in city of Los Angeles. So are you ready to hear it? 1. You stuck on my heart like a starfish on a rock. I made love to myself. I conceived pure, perfect, innocent baby. 2. How brief love ends before seasons change. My favorite, how did I get into your heart? I don't even speak your language. This Friday is a short day for my kids. I can meet you. Sorry. Love, a downpour on a hot summer day, gives, vanishes. Beach photo. A perfect tuna maki on white ceramic. She looks back, the heart not even trace. No babso to buy, no need to cook. Rice. Brief love comes down before the leaves fall. Farewell, love. Lips brush, quick, unshakable. And I'm gonna share with it like this poem. Mother tongue. Sophistication isn't damn good to drink. So why don't you untie my tongue? Like you undress me in the dark. Don't let my ego ruin our night. Don't scam betrayal in your mind. Life is not so bad if you don't pay attention. Reaching out in the night, I don't know what I am trying to grasp. When the sound of a trumpet wraps my body, I want to speak in my mother tongue. I don't apologize. Sorry. English is my first language. Yes, I smell like a garlic. Don't kiss me. I had a kimchi. You smell too, like a scorched lamb and limburger. Let's just love each other. Okay, so I'm gonna close with the last poem called Dead Bouquet Floats on Summer Ocean. And sometimes you write a poem and then leave it on the drawer. So this poem I wrote like, so actually it's 8 years ago, and then I put in the drawer. Someday I saw Great Weather for Media, the submission, and then I submitted. And then it got like, it published last year. So like, sometimes you just write a poem. If you're not ready to share, then you just put in the drawer. So I'm gonna close with this poem. Dead bouquets flows on summer ocean. And the breeze carries the smell of a burnt bread. A young man is shouting and throwing rock at the water. Blues can be the color of a rainbow. 할, 주, 노, 초, 하, 남, 보. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, dark blue, purple. I will add black to my rainbow. Why am I hearing Pavarotti sing Una Pavarita Lagrima when the waves make fragrance and move away? Have you cried when no one sees you? Stars always bring calm, some kind of a hope, or a little laughter of the crickets. They also bring the answer. They also bring the sweet memory of Dante's story, The Stars. Doesn't it melt your heart like having a hot mint coca on winter night? Your tongue, like a live octopus, wrapped my tongue, moved around and closed my throat under moonlight's edge. Black muscles stuck on the rocks. We all feel stuck on something, and to get out of, we must pay the price. Or what's the highest price you pay to get out what you want in your life? There was a tree on the cliff, all the roots exposed. That's the spot where the middle-aged woman drove her red Jeep up. Was stopped, but she came out from her car and jumped into the ocean without stopping. Did she blow out her second chance of life? There is no tomorrow. When red wine spills on the new bamboo rug that you just shipped from Thailand, no one will bother to get up and clean the mess. Then you know it's finished. India ink going through your bloodstream. Nothing you can do. Burning your pictures wasn't easy, but I did it. Like the man who killed his shepherd, who protected him from the black bear. He had to eat. I am no different. In my dream, I am running like a wild horse, jumping through the hot lava, bleeding, burning, screaming, but I can wake up. Everything can be stopped anytime, any moment, like ashes. Loneliness flies out over the sea, awakes the soul. Eucalypts, breeze, and water, moving like a moon jellyfish. And I want everything to stop here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Tanya. Thank you. All right. People can kind of unmute yourselves, give her a nice round of applause here. There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
That's the hardest part with the Zoom is you don't get that reaction, but you can see through,
Yeah.
especially when you're reading, but you can see through the faces. Everybody really enjoyed that, Tanya. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So I will again remind everybody, if you do not want to be in the chat, I see a few people have said that. Just put yourself in the just shoot, put it on in the meeting room chat space. And now, without any further ado, actually from afar, there we go. Actually from afar, we have with us Diane Lee Moomey. Diane, it's all yours.
Thank you so much for having me. And I was born in Oceanside, although I never lived here. And when I found out about this series, the Poetry Near and Afar, it seemed like a great opportunity to touch my beginnings, if only virtually.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So this evening, I'm going to read some pieces from my memoir in progress, Sourdough, plus some nature poems and love poems. The first one is a haibun, which is a prose poem with a haiku attached, usually at the end, but sometimes at the beginning. Oh, by the way, how is my sound? Is it all right?
You're perfect. You're good.
Okay, great, great. Okay. Hummer, summer. A week or so ago, you wrote of a couple of hummingbirds that swung and whirled in branches far above your head. You said you were surprised to see such doubled whirring far from nectar. Underneath their tree, you danced. This evening, here, such pirouettes I see in the pittosporum tree outside my own bed window. A different pair, in the sunset air, no blossoms near, but here is safe enough for nest. Yes, there must be nest up there, and the twirling to rejoicing. And the haiku, another year, another nest. Another year, another nest. Yes. And I hear some clickings somewhere.
Everybody is muted now except for you. So if we had clicking, it should be gone now.
Okay, great. These next two poems are memories of a rural East Coast childhood summer. Wearing snakes. I let them wrap around my wrists, the sleek green scales, so like the gold link bracelet mother wears to parties. So like, I close my eyes while wearing one and feel the other. In summer's green beside the fence, by long stems my father's mower doesn't reach, I wait, place my wrist on mullein, grasses, dock. They part. I intercept and lift, feel it wrap. Snake will twine around an arm always, body taut and steadying itself against a fall. Ruby tongue flicks in and out. In my own world, I am, ruby tongue tastes, the only little girl who wears snakes. Bob wire. We young marauders called it that. Thorny strands at first stretched taut between wood posts. The rusty wire we worried loose by climbing through it over. Bands of children foraging cross country, provoking ire in farmers. Them kids, they'd mutter threats of dire reprisals. We'd continue gaily wrecking fences, quite slowly, all oblivious of consequences. Bob wire, we called it that, mostly unaware of its darker uses, seeing only wire and post across our path, a challenge, jump it on a dare. Pastoral line twixt thine and mine, at the most a token, begging us, we thought, to pass. We'd boast about it later. First, we'd cross the line that's drawn past hollyhocks along the hedges by the lawn, between our garden with tomatoes, corn, and beans, and fields of sourest grass and tussocks growing tall from summer rain and sun, the rich brown gifts of Holsteins. Behemoths black and white approach us as if enthralled and smelling of ammonia and alfalfa, all allow us to push grass between their lips. Soon bored with this, we look for other fields to be explored, or woods. Out past the fields and visible beyond the farthest wire, hazy with distance, lay pine and spruce, abodes of moose and bear. Abodes of moose and bear, forbidden. Darkness yawned beneath the trees. We dared ourselves to enter. A moose in rut, a mother bear, a wolf could all be loose in there, or so our parents said. We'd make a pact next year. And so in packs we prowled the edges, tracked imaginary prey, considered barricades, forgot. But past the tooth and claw of mere survival exists a wilder wild. A hidden palisade now keeps me well away. My urban mind outrivals all else and brings its wine and cell phone. Its arrival is full of quiet noise, noise that's all about me. Perhaps the wildest wild is better off without me. And here are a couple from my now on the other coast. Chaparral. Your window width's enough of it tonight. Not for this hour, the bold outdoor stride of noontime, foxtails stuck to denim, the click of boot heels on small rocks, the hiking stick. Your blinds reveal the moon-dark slope divided into neat gray slices. When even that's too much, twist the plastic bar to lay the slats flat against the glass. Turn up the radio, blot out the yucca and the sage, the calls of all that's feral. You know the wild is out there. Tonight, that might be all you need. Freeway exit. Wild geese fly the 101, not quite on these 4 lanes north and 4 south plus median, but above us, a ragged line, its leader purposefully beating wind, long neck reaching, heading east along the exit ramp to Bayfront Park. Cousin geese wait there, surely, enough to make a quorum, enough to form the necessary V for the voyage south. Silent geese, these, what with the tires hiss and thumpings over potholes, What with the whistle of winds around my half-downed window, black beaks seem merely open, but oh, I know they are honking. Heron, improbably on Main Street. A heron, blue, great, flew over her roof today in heron fashion, the first she'd seen to levitate above her carapace of asphalt shingles, gray. Where once Ohlone lived is pavement, is honking cars a glitter. Heron, the first she's seen this far from marsh or meadow, so far from creek or estuary, so far from meat and fish, flew in heron manner, cawed once, orange legs trailing, the wings as broad as bird is long, the plumy neck recurved, that odd boneless S. This heron flew over the house, veered west beyond the chimney, cawed, disappeared, left human being marveling and somewhat cheered at first. Nature. Then she knew, frightening, all about the fall from grace that's made the sighting of a heron now and here as rare as winter lightning. I'd like to switch to a few love poems now. Radio Man. Radio Man. Sometimes in late life West Coast sun, she thinks it was a dream being upstairs in her room under the roof in the old farmhouse they lived in for a couple of hard winters, almost, in Canada. Winters when it got dark at 5 o'clock and the snow blew into the kitchen under the front door, and one morning there was an icicle hanging from the bathroom faucet. That kind of winter. Well, in this dream, or not a dream, she's got her parents' big old Philco in her room, metallic purple with a lighted dial. And when the needle finds the perfect spot on this old Westinghouse, she can catch the radio man, his honey smoky voice just drifting her way, up from Syracuse or down from Montreal, Chicago, if the weather's right, or Detroit. And he plays blues and city music just for her through this old RCA, his smoky voice regaling her with tales about the songs, the singers, their lives, oh, their magic lives so far away from hers. But the signal drifts in and out on this old zenith. While downstairs in the den, beneath the antlered head of a deer and a stuffed pheasant, the old man would fingerpick his Gibson, falsetto Hank's Your Cheatin' Heart, and I'm so lonesome I could cry. And on the record player beside the yellow cabbage roses that papered the parlor, the old lady would listen to Carmen loud, a Gladys somebody doing the habanera. And all that sound drifts up the stairs, so she keeps turning up the volume, and the signal keeps drifting off and on. She keeps on tuning and turning that Panasonic pointer just a hair to the left, a hair to the right. She's just following that honey voice around the dial. Oh, just following him all around that dial. This next one is dedicated to love in the 8th decade. 7 a.m. Raku's the name I give these pots of tender clay, fired and coated in a wash of powdered glass and flamed again. With tongs, I've pulled them out at orange heat and dropped them into vats of grasses, sawdust, straw, perhaps to shatter into glitter or to crack with blackened webs like highway maps across a glossy surface. Plates and cups that now hold tea and coffee, crackle lines that trace their crazy route a little farther around the curve with every morning's pour, the way our faces crease and fold themselves around our forks and spoons, the bagel crumbs and butter, kisses, our bits of daily news. As a cupped palm might hold pebbles scooped from any riverbank, rounded stones, salmon-colored, ochre, rosy gray, rounded stones, their small weight a warm pressing down, pressing warm. Just so does the cupped heart hold its own pebbles, cradle its own pebbles. The cupped heart. Certain stones are still wet and warm, will remain wet and warm. And occasionally, even shrapnel can be worn shiny and smooth, smooth and shiny with the passing of years. This next one is another haibun dedicated especially to all the writers in the audience. Ode to Silence, or why you need not read even one more blog post on vanquishing the dreaded writer's block. Let this be the final time you hear, you speak, you read those words. May you think no more about linguistic constipation or hint of duty unperformed. May you say instead, I am now speechless, and walk around inside that speechlessness. Revel in its clarity. Note its motion, viscosity, its places of utter stillness. Admire. May you practice saying, I am going to the well, or deep into the root zone, into the silent water, traveling along fine hairs. May you say any of the above and not advert to non-existent waxy balls, cholesterols that clog prosodic arteries. May you remember that silence, so that when speech returns, you might write about it, or not. You could say nothing, nothing, nothing at all. And the haiku, year turns, midwinter, not a green shoot anywhere. No one finds this strange. Shifting of gears here. The following poem was written early in the pandemic, but by now it's probably old enough to be included in the memoir collection. So, pandemic picnic, a proposal. Meet me at my car, masked, and spread a tablecloth freshly washed across my hood. I'll have made us bread. We'll take a fender each. I will reach across with love and gloves to pass you opener and anchor steam. Sanitize your hands, a dish, a mango and a knife, make slices, turn the rind. My bracelets will jangle, shaking crispy crackers from the box, arranging cheese with tweezers. Crows will wait to catch the things we drop. On a plate beside the figs and grape you've washed so well, life boy, I can tell. Finger bowls of alcohol in case. Pigeons will pass over, sure to leave a billet doux. How very blue and white our sky. I'll say I do believe tomorrow's forecast is for thunder showers. We have umbrellas, and ours. Ours. I'll close with a piece about one of the things I missed most during lockdown, which fortunately seems to be starting to happen again. This poem is a villanelle, which is a country dance form. So please think of dancing going on as I'm reading it. Street fair. The trader speaks. We'll pitch our tents by light of sun or moon. In every land on earth, we show our wares, white canopies above at dusk and noon. We'll drive our SUVs all afternoon, arrange our coolers, tables, benches, chairs. We'll pitch our tents by light of sun or moon to bring you terracotta, cast the runes, sell wooden toys, crocheted and knitted squares, white canopies above at dusk and noon. Across the aisle, a woman sells balloons and puzzles, woolly sheep and teddy bears. She'd gladly pitch her tents upon the moon. Another draws the people as cartoons. A chocolatier has samples that he shares, white canopies above, at dusk, at noon. In times of plague and war, we ask this boon, O Queen Bazaar, and hope you hear our prayers. Preserve our canopies at dusk and noon. Please bless the tents we pitch beneath the moon. Thank you so much.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, thank
that
you
was
for having
great.
me.
Oh, that was absolutely terrific.
Thank you.
All right.
You.
Let's open up our mics and give a nice round of applause to Diane and to Tanya, both two great features tonight. Thank you so
Tanya.
much.
Very wonderful.
It's wonderful to get to hear your work.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful.
All right. Okay, so we're going to do the open mic. As I said, if you don't want to, throw it in the chat, although I think most people have, those of you who do not want to participate. The way we do it is I pick on somebody and I tell somebody else to be on deck. For those of you who are not baseball people, that means you're next. Okay, so Emily Sue, we're going to start off with you. And Doreen, you're on deck.
Okay, thank you. This has been wonderful. Okay, shut up and read. This is called Jazz Improv at Sunken Meadow State Park. Breezes skim hollow fence posts along the beachfront boardwalk. Harmonic tones pirouette like kite tails to the rhythm of crashing waves. Laughing gulls swirl and swoop, carry mussels plucked from shallow waters skyward, wings beating against the currents, beaks open to let their quarry fall onto the rocky shoreline below. Feathery flocks, white and gray, land screeching amid the cracked shells. They squabble over every morsel, then settle into sated silence, all facing one way, leaning into the wind.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. Doreen, you're up, and Christine, you're on deck.
Hey.
Thank you, Tanya. I am speechless. How beautiful our features, how absolutely fantastic.
They were wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Really. So, okay. The wonder of this spring is in return. The wonder of this spring is in return. I wonder at my luck, the new leaves in my view that I can see, still see, that fragrances still mean something to me. Whether winter left me standing straight, cracked skin has healed, a minor miracle. This season births greater miracles, I think, than those of which the children sing in overheated auditoriums, begging months to hurry. Innocents, they know so little of the flight of time. Those 9 months that crept on fours flew by as mother circled dates in black. Impatient arms ached for your warmth, contented sharing movements with your dad. And he, remote in hand, not noticing how slowly 9 months pass. Now spring has vanquished winter. No surprise that I am here to welcome it as I once welcomed you. Your green-leaved hands, your newly opened eyes, buds opening to the new spring sun. That I am here to love the newborn spring, still here, surprised, and knowing I am glad.
Thank you. All right. Wonderful as always. All right. Nice round of applause. Christine, you're up, and Anne, you're on deck.
Okay. This comes from the Ancient Poets Outlet. I got published in that, so sick plug. Yeah, epigram. A bird of prey will never find glory in the human world. The ancient poet in his youth trained 2 owlets, which he found abandoned in the forest behind his home. They were sick and submissive, and they allowed the man to pet their downy plumage with their hollow-boned bodies. He rescued them and made his attic their home, where he fed them on earthworms, dead rodents, and rabbits. From the same gentle fingers, he created brilliant poetry. After the owlets matured, they would fly the distance of the house between the rafters, peek out of the roof's one and only window to watch the wind stir the tree's branches on the other side of the glass, where they may never spread their wings fully open. They became human imprinted owls. The poet's love for them was so strong that he could not set them free. Then Athena, the Greek goddess of good counsel, whispered to him, "Release them." At midnight, Stanley carried the young owls back to the forest, his hands covered in falconry gloves. He raised the birds up to the heavens and let go of their talons. They flew into the darkness without a sound or a backward glance. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anne, you're up, and Bernardo, you're on deck.
Okay, what a wonderful evening. So many beautiful, beautiful images that you brought to us. Thank you so much. This one is called Thomas. Poor Thomas always gets a bad rap. Was he truly as skeptical as portrayed by the Gospels? I doubt it. Why wasn't he in the room with the other disciples when Jesus appeared to them? Perhaps, being good-natured, he offered to grab some takeout for his friends. Or maybe, like that one kid in class who has trouble paying attention, simply didn't get the memo. What if Thomas happened to be a visual kinesthetic learner? By stating his need, Thomas was invited to draw closer and investigate our Lord's wounds, and in so doing was declared blessed. We could all take a lesson from Thomas. By asking for what we need, we might receive what we wanted all along: to be seen, and heard.
Wonderful. Very inventive. Thank you, Anne. Bernardo, you're up, and Margaret, you're on deck.
Thank you. I appreciate the featured readers. That was very colorful, very image-filled poetry. In honor of Poetry Month, I believe in poetry. I think we got a couple people. Anne, if you're still unmuted.
All right, let me.
I got you.
Okay. Okay. As for me, I believe in poetry. I believe in its magic. I believe in its ability to face something tragic, to place it in a place, a frame that helps us get past it. No matter how long, with power so strong, believe, let it take you to where you belong. I believe in poetry. I believe inspiration. I believe that words that come from it are no collaboration. A poet that knows this shows this in awe of creation, with powers so strong in our prayers and our songs. Receive, let it take you to pastures of calm. I believe in poetry. I believe in its strength. I believe from haikus to sonnets, no matter the length. When word is served truly from the heart, you can feel the evidence in our prayers and our songs, like a praise or a bomb. Conceive, let it take you from darkness to dawn. Poetry knowingly enters in places the core of what grace is. So sweet its embrace is. So come forth and taste this, because I believe in poetry. Do you?
Wonderful. Absolutely. A great poem for the month. Thank you so much, Bernardo. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. We're cooking along here very well. Margaret, you're up, and Kenya, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you to our features. I'm going to read a poem that I just got into the World Poets Volume 2 book. It's called Pathway of Your Footprints. Everywhere reminds me, Ann Cohen, who just read earlier. Bensonhurst united with Howard Beach, created you. Long Island next, your family moved to. Later on to Staten Island and Bronxville you went for a few. So many places seem to your faces and remind me of you. Parts of New Jersey you camped with fire pits and booze. Manhattan you worked in. Westchester addressed you too. Montauk, your favorite spot to be. You left stickers in spaces like a signature of traces. I searched to find them all, you see. Massapequa produced the man you became to be. It's where you grew up beside quiet, shy me. Your legacy continues, though you are gone. My pen memorializes as my poetry emphasizes. Your memory carries on.
Very, very nice, Margaret. Thank you so much. All right. Kenya, you're up, and Tom Stanton, you're on deck.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. So I'll be reading one of my poems that I created this month. This month, I tried to write a poem each day for National Poetry Month. So here it goes. No matter what you do, it's always going to be wrong to them because you're deciding that you no longer want to suffer. You see that there is another way to live. I just want to remind you that you are not alone. I'm rooting you on. I hope you make it to the other side. I hope one day you feel free. I hope you get to experience what it's like to live where people genuinely care about you and support you and want to see you do great and are not afraid of you activating your gift in this world.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much. All right, Tom, you're up, and Robert Rubino, you're on deck. There you go.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you to the two features. Thank you. And the sun had almost set. How about a few words about blackbirds and Red Wings mixing it up and all singing the same notes at the same time. And the house, not a house, boat with homey cactus tied on the gunwale. And the nice guy who looked and dressed like Jack London, and the Japanese woman who didn't know what time or year it was, and her friend who got himself lost 2 ways to some middle, or the Cape Cod couple visiting, facing us west, with the high-rise sun in their easterly eyes, warning us not to turn our backs to the sea. And the 3 people, 2 speaking in the distance with the 2 little dogs barking their way, who gave us the secret directions to the desire and longer path. And the pit bull mastiff mix, standing at attention, leash loosely draped upon a pole, staying there in the small gap of the barely open gate. And the wizened working woman, salt bound and strong, bounding up to get him, saying, I'm doing this for a friend. And what about the tire tracks we shared, never saw, saying to each other, maybe next time, knowing, maybe never. And what about the short goodbye, so much longer than the one before? And where did they all go once we said goodbye? And the sun had almost set.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us, Tom.
All right, it's a
Appreciate it.
pleasure to be here.
Where are you, Tom, by the way?
Benicia, California, a little bit smaller than you population-wise. You're 32,000, we are 29.
There you go. All right. All right. Next up, Robert Rubino, you're up, and Ro, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Diane and Tanya. Wrestling versus boxing. It's false, it's fake, it's fantasy, it's scripted, it's silliness. But at 14, I can't look away. Muscle-bound Bruno Sammartino getting set to pin villainous killer Kowalski to the mat. Golden Mane nature boy Buddy Rogers sneaking up from behind and clobbering Bruno with a folding chair, cueing 601-pound haystack Calhoun to come to the rescue. A magnificent melee ensues while the see no evil referee becomes an incurious bystander. It's in my pliable Play-Doh of a mind, pro wrestling via our 12-inch black and white TV in 1962 was violence stylized, violence operatic, violence as theater of the absurd, with ample amounts of huffing and puffing and blowing the house down, with headlocks and drop kicks and body slams and backbreakers and skull crushers and sleeper holds. Violence at its best, because nobody got hurt. They'd all be back next week, good as new. Of course, the attraction was made stronger by the revulsion expressed by my blue-collar father, well-muscled himself, whose bellowing, "It's phony, it's stage," cued my cry of resistance. "Oh yeah, Mr. America's bashed head bled last week, real blood." Even though I knew it's all fake, even the blood, but that wasn't the point. The point being, we watched this stuff together while eating thick crust pizza, my wrestling on Thursday nights, his Friday night fights. I'd soak up his punchy boxing history lectures about the great John L. and Gentleman Jim and the Jacks, Johnson and Dempsey and Joe Louis, of course, while mesmerized by the sweet science artistry of aging Sugar Ray Robinson or one-eyed courage of Carmen Basilio. But neither of us was prepared for the finale of the Emil Griffith, Benny Kid Perrette trilogy. Griffith beating Perrette to death after Perrette called the closeted Griffith Maricon, at the weigh-in. Griffith punching Perrette in the head 25 times in the 12th round, Perrette giving nothing in return, Perrette slumping but still on his feet, the ropes holding him up, but he's already gone to where a KO's black lights never blink, past the point of no return, while the referee stares at this public execution as if he's merely a curious bystander. It's true, it's serious, it's unscripted, it's brutality, it's reality, and at 14, I can't look away. Thank you for listening.
That was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Ro, you're up, and Mark, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, everyone. Enjoying every bit of it. So inspiring. This poem was just lying around, so I didn't bother looking for anything else. It may be a little pre-season, but then spring has been covered, so I guess it's okay to read this. Summer's harbingers. We know summer starts precisely on June 21st, but without a calendar, would we know when it arrives? Before the advent of the calendar, we intuited most things. There was a general feel to everything, not unlike when we are in love. Thanks to my keen sense of smell and hearing, I still can tell when it is summer more precisely than a calendar can. When the stinky manure hits my nostrils, I know it is summer. When the noise from lawn mowers pierces my tranquility, I know it is summer. When the pressure to keep up with my neighbors' lawns and flower beds mounts, and my mental peace is challenged, I know it is summer. I also know it is summer when my heavy coats give way to my flimsy outfits and my boots to my sexy sandals. Overbooked weekends with festivals and carnivals and more sightseeing are also harbingers of summer. Not to mention outdoor fun, other outdoor fun like barbecuing and beachcombing, entertaining and sports too define summer. Summer's beauty and joy are ephemeral because before you know it, summer is over. My solution is to bottle it and sniff at it when cold days and cold nights bite at my extremities. Hush, stop being such a wet blanket. Shut up and lap up the summer days, one by one, like they're the petals of a spring flower. Thank you.
Wonderful, Ro. Thank you so much. Like Don Headley says, right? There's only so many summers, so many springs. All right. So Mark, you're up, and Robert Dean, you're on deck.
Thank you so much, Tony, and thank you so much 1,000 times to our features tonight. Roads we take. Grandpa preferred back roads and levee highways once we got outside the Bay Area on our way to weekend fishing in the Delta. Occasionally in his pickup truck with short camper over the bed, rolling in the shadows of eucalyptus trees, lining a road resembling a never-ending gap-toothed smile, between which was not tongue, but weeping willows waving back at sunlight shimmering on river's surface. Levee road so narrow, 18-wheelers going the other way slowed down, so we could pass without bumping into each other with a twist of the hips and a mutual nod in silence. Apart from occasional sucker punch odor of skunk roadkill, Grandpa found the back roads peaceful, tranquil. Unlike the freeway and its mad rush of cars like a colony of ants streaming frantically between discarded candy bar and home. The point of getting away from the city, after all, is getting away from the city traffic. Nonetheless, Grandpa was strict about laws and rules. One Friday evening, we took a different route, leaving the levee road by turning right at a partially camouflaged T-bone intersection. This portal of two trees whose branches are in a shoving match, I fully expected to take us to a haunted hallow that even creatures of the woods dare not tread. Instead, no trees, no gargantuan tarantula nests, no traffic, no crops, no farm equipment or farm buildings for that matter, just block after block of bland concrete, perfectly neat and straight, a light pole every 50 feet. A vast nothingness. And yet we are not going nowhere fast. We are going nowhere at 30 miles per hour because that is the speed limit. Tick, tick, tick goes the turn signal at Grandpa's command. I turn around and looked out the rear window. No cars, just that nothingness. Grandpa, why are you using the turn signal? Because that is the rule of the road. You always give people a signal that you are turning. But Grandpa, I don't see anybody. It does not matter. It's the law. And as long as they can see you, there is no accident. As I've gotten older, I understand it's not what you drive or where you drive, but how you drive, which matters.
Yep. Yep. Thank you so much, Mark. All right. Robert, you're up, and Josephine, you're on deck.
Great evening so far. I hate it when it switches out of gallery view. I'm going to try a smattering of haiku tonight, if that is okay, Tony.
Yep.
Like 4.
It's
I'll
fine.
put a little pause between just for haiku purposes. Trees bow, October breeze. I opened the hymnal.
Robert, around here, we usually read the haikus twice. And so feel free to do that.
Okay. Again.
Yeah.
Trees bow, October breeze. I open the hymnal. Hands full of snow, all the neighbors naked, Bradford pear. Again. Hands full of snow, all the neighbors naked, Bradford pear. And our Bradford pears were just in bloom about 2 weeks ago. Spider webs on the park bench, if I sit still long enough. Spider webs on the park bench, if I sit still long enough. And the last one. In the flock heading south, a Cessna. In the flock heading south, a Cessna.
Thank you. Those are great. Really appreciate them. Okay. And Josephine, you're up. And Larry, you're on deck.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful reading, and I'm coming from Afar. I'm in Western Canada, the ancestral and traditional lands of a number of different Indigenous peoples, including the Piikani, Tsuut'ina, Nakota, Kainai, and Siksika. I'd like to thank them, acknowledge them for having brought culture, language, poetry to this part of the world. Sometimes a poem. Sometimes the poem arrives, a flutter of wings, unseen against cheek, waking from dream. Sometimes a storm. Sometimes the poem darkens my mind, a susurration of starlings, a waterfall, cascade. At times, the poem is an owl, intrigued, orange eyes aglow at the wonder of nights, sometimes northern lights, a bowl full of stars. a V across my consciousness, honking information, mapless destination, a quiet trail through the woods, soft rain on my face. The poem sometimes is a lone bird, unseen, summit of lodgepole pining for a mate, a smooth stone found at the bottom of a lake. And that time the poem was tender-hued, a mallard waddling riverbank, a gaggle of yellow-brown chicks wading in her wake. The moon ripe and full, just over the line where sea meets infinity. A spring poem came as waxwing once, carmine-colored rowan berries captured in beak. Profusion of jasmine and lilac. Summer poem pelicans caught on northbound breeze, crossing 100 miles a day. And that poem I wish I could forget. Baby bird, speckled breast askew on unforgiving ground. So many poems written in hues of deepest blue. A poem like a hummingbird hovering, fireflies flitting ephemeral sparks. A poem without words, oh sweet newborn sleep. And then this late winter poem, chickadee flitting, bare branch trees come to rest upon upcurved palm, searching for some seed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So Larry McCoy, you're up, and then JR, you're going to take us home.
What to say, or maybe what not to say. When a chatty guy at the gym stands near you and just talks while you're trying to exercise. You know, some gym members actually come here to use the equipment. When you see an older Republican at your morning coffee shop. Congratulations, Tom. You may be the only person on Long Island who still has a Bob Dole bumper sticker. When a lady standing outside an office with no outer markings identifying what it is says good morning to you, you say, good morning. What goes on in your building? Someone told me it was a sex education workshop. When at the supermarket checkout line, the person in front of you, sorry, usually female, doesn't open her purse to pay until everything has been put in bags. And then after she pays, she takes approximately 1 minute or more to put things back in the purse. You say, boy, time sure flies when you're having fun, yes? When your neighbor, a widower for several years now, introduces you to a lady he is seeing, you say, what happened to the blonde with the nose ring? That's it.
You got me coughing again, Larry. Thank you so much. That's great. All right. It's been a wonderful evening, and we're going to end it off with one of my absolute favorite people, J.R. Judy Turk.
Thank you. Oh, I just love following Larry. Oh my.
Yeah.
Wonderful night. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Diane. And a great open mic. Wow. So I'm reading from Dog Speak, 24-hour poetry marathon in the voice of dogs. And I'm playing my own poetry roulette and just picking a number. So I am reading hour 15. Why? Why can't we leave the fridge door open? All the good stuff is in there, but with the door closed, we can't get it. For you, of course. Why isn't there a bed bigger than king? It's too small for all of us, and you refuse to sleep on the couch. We want you to be comfortable. Why can't we eat with you at the table? We're polite,
won't burp or steal food off your plate, and there'll be no leftovers. Why can't we have our own couch? You could make the living room bigger. After all, it's where we live, so it should fit our furniture too. Why do we chase cars and bikes? We can't drive them, so it seems like a dumb idea. Oh yeah, you did tell us not to. Why don't you like answering questions? We're inquisitive, curious, our inquiring canine minds, we want to know everything. Why do squirrels hate us? What did we do to annoy them other than chase them up trees, across fences, and watch as they skitter across power lines? Never mind. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm losing my voice here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, especially Tanya and Diane. We appreciate you very much, and we look forward to seeing you all the first Monday in May. Oh my goodness, it's going quick. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you too, Tony. Very